Hi, welcome back. I'm Lorenzo. Today we're going to do a little bit of a low buy update. I think this is the last one I'm going to do until the end of the year. I started my low buy last January, so that's the end of my low buy. So I'm going to give a bit of a purchasing recap since July, I believe is when my last update was, and then talk through what my plans are for the rest of the year. So as a recap for my low buy, I limited myself to buying 5 new clothing items, and I could thrift 1 item a month. And if I didn't thrift something in, say, January, then that meant in February I could thrift 2 things. So they did roll over. And then I could also purchase 5 jewelry pieces. So that's 12 thrifted items, 5 new items, and 5 jewelry pieces for a total of 22 items that would be new to me. So as a quick recap, January I didn't buy anything. February I also didn't buy anything. March I bought a pink linen vest and a white pair of trousers. That pink linen vest never really fit right. I shouldn't have actually kept that. I should have returned it. And thus that is no longer in my wardrobe. So that is now gone. However, it still counts as something I bought, so that's unfortunate. In April, I got a yellow cardigan. In May, I bought a V-neck linen t-shirt. And then in June, I bought these thrifted leather sandals. And unfortunately, those completely fell apart the second time I wore them. I think they were just too old and they hadn't been worn, and so all of the foam on the bottom of the shoe just completely crumbled as I was walking. Very disappointing because I really loved the style of those and the comfort of those, and so those are also gone from my wardrobe, unfortunately. In terms of jewelry, I purchased 1 vintage necklace, and then my husband bought me 1 vintage ring, which I'm counting because I specifically asked him to get me a ruby ring for my birthday, so because I asked for it, I'm counting as my jewelry piece. From January to June, I did not purchase any new items at all. However, things have changed. So, in July, I didn't end up getting anything thrifted or new. In August, I thrifted this button-down shirt, getting really excited and preparing for fall. I really loved the colors of this shirt. And then I did buy these Everlane Gardner pants in white, new, in August. And then I also got a pair of white Brooks sneakers. I didn't need the white pants, but I just really couldn't get like an oversized wide leg white jean out of my head. And these were on sale, and that's kind of I ended up getting them. I did try them on in store first before I purchased them, and I did really like the way they looked, and to be honest, I do wear them a lot, so I don't regret that new purchase, but it wasn't like the most thought out new purchase. I kind of felt like since I made it all the way to August without buying anything new, that I was like kind of a freebie. It's like, oh yeah, you want those pants, you can get them. In hindsight, I didn't need them, but I also have been wearing them a lot, so I'm giving myself like, oh, that's an okay purchase, but I would rather think a little bit harder about my new purchases in the future. And then the Brooks running shoes were something I just like needed physically. They're now my like main walking shoe, so those are good. I'm very happy with those. I tried them on in person. They were quite expensive, about $160, but I think for my health, I need to just suck it up and be willing to spend more to be comfortable and have my feet be happy. I almost didn't put the Brooks running shoes in this new purchase because I felt like it was kind of like a for my health thing and not necessarily for like my style or because I wanted them to look good. But they are new and they are something I wear, so I did end up classifying them as one of my new purchases. In August, I also thrifted 2 scarves. And I wasn't going to count accessories like scarves and like hats and stuff like that as a clothing piece, so they didn't really count towards my thrifted budget at all. But I was trying to consciously not buy a ton of them, so these are like one of my first pieces that don't really count towards my challenge, but I still want to talk about them a little bit. This is just a silk yellow scarf, and then this one is a wool very large scarf, which I am very excited to take to Japan. I think this is going to work really well for that. So the scarves aren't really included on my purchasing plan, but for full transparency, I did buy them. At the end of September, I ended up getting a thrifted silk camisole in purple, And I also got this thrifted merino wool dress, both of which I really, really like. The camisole I bought in person, and it's not like I had that kind of item on my list. I have had it in my brain because I've been wanting more lacy, a little bit more feminine pieces, and so that didn't come out of nowhere. I have worn it a few times already, and I really like it to sleep in, but also I like it layered underneath cardigans. I think that looks really nice, very feminine and easy, but still very comfortable for me. The navy merino wool dress I got from ThredUp. That was about $50, and I did think a lot more about that. I'd been wearing my red knit dress for like all of September, like seriously, like almost every day. And I mean that because I work from home most of the time, so I don't need to necessarily wear different clothes to the office. So yeah, I really lived in that red knit dress. I loved the heavyweight material. I loved the way I felt wearing it. I felt feminine and put together, but still extremely cozy. So I was looking for another piece like that. And this merino wool dress was exactly that. I think it's going to be even more practical for me. I've already worn it a few times. I love the navy color. I love the buttons. And it feels just so nice. It feels like a blanket. So that, I think, is very much money well spent. Finally, in October, I purchased a new pair of boots, and I am still within the return window. I haven't worn them outside. I'm trying to just wear them around the house to really make sure they're going to work for me. So far, I think they are going to work for me, so I'm pretty excited. They were $100 at Nordstrom Rack, but you know, it goes to about $110 after tax. These are Ara boots. I have been needing to replace a lot of my shoes since having foot problems in the last few years. And so I was trying to replace my heeled black boots, which I just can no longer wear for more than like 20 minutes. And then also my Blundstones, I can't really wear either without having pain in 20 minutes, which is a real bummer because those were expensive shoes and I really like the look of them. So I was looking for a black boot that could kind of replace all of the boots that I'm letting go of. I was looking for a low heel, but I was also looking for one that went up higher, kind of to like mid calf, which is not a very popular height I have found in boots, but for me that just looks nicer on my leg than a shorter boot that cuts right at the ankle. And I didn't want to get another tall pair of boots because the other boots I own that still work for me are tall brown boots. I wanted a little variety. So I was able to find these, and so far I think they're working really well. They are very simple, but they are tall enough, and they also hug my ankle enough where it doesn't look like awkwardly oversized on my body. So far I think these are really nice. I had never heard of this brand before, but looking up their shoes, they are seemingly dedicated to comfort and quality, and so far I've really liked them. I feel like they are very comfortable and high quality. They don't have much of a heel. They have just enough to like give a nice silhouette on your foot and your leg. So I'm hoping these work for me. These probably won't be like an everyday wear kind of shoe. For me, I still have to have like tennis shoes be like my all day, if I'm actually really walking kind of shoe, but I'm hoping those boots will be able to work for me in a little bit dressier occasions, you know, like nights out, going to work, that kind of thing. I'm really optimistic. I'm hoping they work. They fit my insoles, which is a big deal, and they feel wide enough for me. So that's my recap for what I purchased since July. Looking forward, I do have a bit of a surplus for thrifted items, so I can get up to 4 more items for the rest of this year. I am going to Japan in November, so I do want to try to just like give myself extra space because I do want to shop a bit in Japan. So I'm mentally dedicating like 3 slots for that Japan trip for thrifted items. In terms of my new items, I have space for 2 more new items. So I do want to dedicate like at least one of those slots for the Japan trip. The other new item slot I'm thinking of is to find a pair of loafers. I have not had a lot of luck with loafers. I did go try on some last weekend, and unfortunately, to find them to fit the width of my foot, they always fall off my heel. So have not found the perfect combination of a shoe that looks good and actually fits my foot. Honestly, haven't found one that fits my foot. So that's like the first step. And then I can decide if I like the way it looks. But I'm extremely picky with my footwear. Like, I want it to be a classic piece, so I might have to actually spend real money to get a pair of loafers. I think I'll do a trip down to Nordstrom and just beg them to let me try on every loafer that they have. We'll see how that goes, but that's my idea for that other shoe item. I'm slowly rebuilding my shoes from like decent, okay quality, but like they all kind of hurt. Like, I haven't found an extremely comfortable shoe yet other than tennis shoes. And then in terms of jewelry, I can still get 3 pieces for the rest of the year. And I have had things that I am interested in, but there's nothing that I'm really obsessed with the idea of yet. Like, I find a lot of really beautiful, like, modern jewelry on eBay, like pre-owned vintage pieces. I like the idea of those, but none of them have really been like a must, like I must buy that. I'm holding like one of those slots for the Japan trip that I take. I don't know if I'll be like buying a bunch of jewelry in Japan. However, I am looking for specifically like big Baroque lavender or pink pearl studs. So maybe I can find that in Japan. We'll see. I know they have a lot of pearls, but what I'm looking for, I haven't even been able to really find online, so I don't know if it exists. So far I'm pretty proud of myself for sticking with this challenge. I haven't like broken any rules yet. I still have things that I can buy for the rest of the year, which is really nice. I do find that fall is a time that I like to shop more than like say summer. Summer doesn't really feel much like a shopping time other than my birthday, which is in summer, and even then I just kind of get like a couple pieces, 1 or 2 pieces for my birthday. Similarly, I feel like winter isn't a time that I really shop, but I do have feelings about like the next coming year. I won't be doing a challenge per se, but I think I will still have vague rules for myself when buying new things. One of the reasons I really wanted to do my low buys because I wanted to spend my money more in like the hobbies that I do, or just spend my time in the hobbies that I do, or in other interests outside of like style and fashion and like my appearance. And I have definitely seen an improvement in that. Like I have had more bandwidth to do other creative projects. Like for example, I've been crocheting a lot more. I crocheted a baby blanket for my sister-in-law, which was very rewarding for me because it was a really fun time and I feel like I made a really beautiful blanket. I'm also currently crocheting little like capes for my niece and nephew, and it's just so fun. It's fun to get yarn for a specific project and then do the project and then be done. I've been having a really good time making these things, so that feels really rewarding for myself, and this doesn't spend a ton of money and someone else gets to enjoy the piece, whereas like I used to just only get things for myself, which it's nice to have things for yourself, but then you have to deal with it. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this item now? You only need so many things, so it's nice to have time to make things for others and to focus on other people instead of yourself. That's been really helpful. I've also had a lot more time and I feel like clarity to really evaluate the clothing that I have. So I've been decluttering throughout the whole year. I just listed a bunch of things on eBay, things that I think are actually like good quality and nice items that I think other people could really enjoy. And kind of paired with that, I feel like I have much more of a sense of what I'm wearing and what I like to wear and what I want my style and wardrobe to be like in the future. And then just personally, I have had extra money. Like my money is not going to close every month, so I am spending that in more social situations. Whereas before I used to be like, ooh, I don't want to go do that thing because it costs this much money. Now it doesn't really bother me as much. I'll be like, yeah, let's go to that restaurant. Let's do that thing. And I just don't have to worry about spending money as much because I'm not trying to hoard it to get new clothes all the time. So that's the update so far. I'm feeling really good about this challenge. I think doing a low buy instead of a no buy made this much more doable for me, and I'm excited to see what I get for the rest of the year. I'll probably do a check-in in January to see overall thoughts on the challenge and just a wrap up of everything there and kind of what I want to do in the future. But that's all for me for now. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I make videos every week about fashion, style, thrifting, all that good stuff. So if you're into that, try sticking around. Hope you all have a fabulous day, and I'll see you next week with another video. Tschüss!